Hey, it's me. So I wanted to make a video today, clearly, because I started recording. Um, but I've noticed I've been making a lot of videos about CF and a lot of videos about, like, stuff that might not be necessarily super positive. And overall, I do find myself to be a pretty positive person, or at least I try to be. And even when I feel like I'm not positive, I don't know, people tell me that I am, so I'm like, okay. Um, but I felt like maybe I should share something. It's not really positive, but it's not really negative. It's just a thing. It's more like sharing my experience. But I wanted to do something like that because I find myself clicking into YouTube and making videos when I'm like stuck in the hospital and sick and sad and thinking about how I'm gonna die young and like blah blah blah, and like maybe we should like maybe I should share something that's a little more lighthearted. So um, I kind of want to share like how I feel about gender. I mean, I know I already like went into that in some other videos, but um, a little more about how my relationship to gender has like changed throughout the years or whatever. Because I think there's a lot that's like I think I'm continuously changing, and I enjoy that, and I think that used to really scare me, especially like when you hear, or at least a lot of the times when I would hear people come out as like trans or gay or like anything related to LGBT plus stuff, a lot of times you hear like Mom, I've always been this way, or like I'm not gonna change, or like whatever. And I think that a lot of times that is very valid, and I'm not trying to like crush that, because clearly like if you've only been into girls for the first 25 years of your life, like, logically speaking, there's a good chance that you're going to continue to only be into girls, like, or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, you look at past patterns for future behavior, I guess. So, like, it's pretty rare that you'll just wake up one day and be like, oh, yeah, I like dudes. But I also think that, like, at least for myself, I kind of clung on to that idea that, like, I had to feel this way the whole time, or I had to experience this the whole time, or, like, whatever, in order for it to be true, or for it to count as being real, or else it's just a phase. And phases are not a bad thing. But I wanted to talk about me and my gender and how I have been uh, relating to gender in the world, blah blah blah. So I haven't mentioned specifically in previous videos. I haven't mentioned specifically in previous videos what my assigned sex at birth is, because I didn't feel that it was relevant, and it's something that I tend to like to keep more of a secret, like especially with, or I don't know, especially with being non-binary. Like I think sometimes people have, you're taught male and female, and so like I've heard people be like, oh, like that's a non-binary girl or something, and like while some people do identify as non-binary but still kind of identify as like male or female, or like they kind of like feel like both or whatever, I don't feel like either. So I feel like if I tell people my assigned sex, that then they label me as that assigned sex, even if they recognize that I'm non-binary, but they still kind of lump me in that direction or whatever. Or that's my fear, I guess. But I feel like it's relevant. Oh, my cat's right here. I don't know. I'll show him to you. Oh, here. Hi, Tobie. Say hi. He's sleeping. But I feel like it's relevant, and I feel like it could maybe help some people, or that I can't really share my story or all my experiences without sharing it. So I figured I'll share it. So I was assigned male at birth. If you don't know what that means, I was born with a penis, and that the doctors decided that that meant I was a boy, and that the world decided that that meant I was a boy, and put all this pressure on me to be just like how boys are and do all the boy things. But in reality, all it means is that I literally was born with a penis. So But yeah, so I grew up, you know, being raised like how, oh, I'm supposed to be a boy. I remember my mom threw away all my stuffed animals when I was like 10 or 11 because boys don't play with stuffed animals. Bitch. Like, what the fuck? But anyways, there were like a lot of little things like that. Like, you can't, oh, my mom didn't want me to have a straightener when I was like 13, 14, whatever, because boys don't do that, and just like dumb stuff. Like, I don't know. But anyways, so like I said, I was born with a penis, and the world basically decided that that meant certain things for me. It meant that I was supposed to be masculine. It meant that I was supposed to wear certain things, that I was supposed to behave a certain way, and blah, 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 blah. And for a lot of those things, I didn't feel comfortable behaving that way, or dressing that way, or, like, I didn't like having short hair. I didn't like a lot of different things that came with what it meant to be a man. It didn't feel comfortable, it didn't feel natural, it didn't feel right. And that was when, like, after a while, I kind of started to figure out that, like, okay, that's because I'm trans. Not that gender nonconformity means that you are trans, but sometimes those can be intertwined. And so, when I was 18, I officially came out as trans, but I didn't come out as non-binary at first. I came out as a trans girl. And by this point, there was a part of me that knew I was non-binary, because I have, like, moments where, like, I hear things or I remember things and I'm like, oh my god, like, I remember feeling that so intensely. Or, like, where I would write things down and I'd find, like, old letters to myself or, like, old posts on the internet that, like, I didn't even realize that I knew that I felt that way then. But, like, and looking at them and I'm like, oh my god, like, I knew. But I remember still being, like, terrified. Like, I had never met another non-binary person. I had never heard of anyone, like, realistically going by they, them pronouns. It was just something that still felt very foreign to me, even though it felt natural and it felt like what I wanted. So I kind of thought, like, coming out as a trans woman would be, like, good enough, and that I would feel comfortable enough to, like, not hate my life. So I came out as a trans woman, and I kind of did the other opposite. So, like, as a guy, I actually wasn't super masculine as a guy. I was out as gay at, like, 14, which gave me, I guess, a little bit of, like, allowance to be feminine, because gay men are allowed to be feminine, whereas straight men aren't, which doesn't make sense at all, but whatever. And a lot of the feminine things that I was feeling or doing, I kind of just chalked up to, oh, it's because I'm gay. Like, you know, that's why. I came out as a trans woman, and I changed my wardrobe a fair amount, but it was weird because I didn't necessarily, there were some, like, women's clothing that I felt more comfortable in, but I didn't necessarily feel uncomfortable in all guys' clothing. But I felt like, okay, well, now I'm out as a trans woman, so I can't like these guy things. And I kind of almost pushed myself into this other box, trying to eliminate all these masculine ideas that were forced upon me. And in some ways it was helpful, but in some ways it really wasn't. And after a while, I just kind of, I don't know, like, I started realizing, like, okay, like, being a trans woman is not, like, that's not me, but I know I'm not a man. Like, what does this mean? And, like, I remember, like, I felt like any time that I were to not do things a womanly way and do things a manly way, that I was backtracking, you know, that I was turning back to a man, which I didn't like that. But I kind of was able to shift my perception and realize, like, I'm not backtracking. I'm moving forward, and men's clothes don't make me a man, and women's clothes don't make me a woman, and this doesn't make me a man, and this doesn't make me a woman, and blah, 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 blah. And once I started, like, coming to terms with that, I was feeling a lot better about my gender, but I like kind of basically started to like degenderize. I don't think that's a word, but whatever. All this stuff in my life and in society and blah blah blah. And like now, like looking at myself, I tend to prefer guys' clothes over girls' clothes, but I don't feel like a guy. I'm not a guy. I'm just not, like, whatever. There's a lot of me that might fit into one category or another. Like, if other people are looking at me, they'll be like, oh, this is very woman of you, or this is very man of you. And there's ways that I can see, like, why people would think that, or there's ways that even myself, like, I'm like, oh, like, when I do this, or when I'm in this situation, I feel a lot more similar to a man or to a woman, but I don't necessarily feel like I am one. And one thing that I've been trying to kind of express, or almost like, I don't know the right word, I don't know, like, I still get worried about being gendered. Like, being gendered as a man usually feels so much worse to me than being gendered as a girl. Like, if people don't use they, them pronouns for me, then they use she, her. And if people use he, him, like, bye-bye. Like, they're out. Like, it just doesn't happen because I don't put up with that. But, so, sometimes, like, being too masculine scares me because I'm like, then people are gonna think I'm a guy. And that's, like, being seen as a girl isn't accurate, but it doesn't, like, upset me as much as being seen as a guy, I guess. But I'm trying to kind of test out different, like, masculine, I don't want to say vibes, but different, like, things that are on the more masculine end of the spectrum, because now I feel like growing up, I felt like I was supposed to do those things because, like, my mom told me to, and the world told me to, and blah, blah, blah. But now I feel like it's my choice to try them and see if I like them. And so, like, if any of you know me, which you probably don't, but whatever, I hate being told what to do. Like, if I was about to, like, go get pizza or something, and I've been craving this pizza all day, and then, like, someone texted me and was like, you need to get that pizza and you need to eat it because you haven't eaten all day, or something like that. Like, I would just be like, are you fucking, like, okay, no, I'm not gonna get it. Like, I don't like people telling me what to do. So it's kind of the same with all those masculine things. Like, everyone's telling me you have to do them, and I'm like, oh, bitch, no. But now that I've been out for so long, most people have let go of that. And most people, like, I mean, I know society still genders things and stuff like that, but overall, like, I don't feel a lot of pressure to behave like that. So I feel like I have more of an open area to express that, or to dip my toes into that and see how I feel about it. So that's what I'm trying to do, I guess. I mean, I feel, honestly, like, I feel really comfortable, besides the whole bottom dysphoria. Oh my god. Besides that, I feel really comfortable. I feel really comfortable with the hormones that I'm on. I feel really comfortable. I would like my hair longer, but I feel really comfortable where it's at. I feel really comfortable with the way I dress. I feel pretty androgynous most of the time, and I like that I'm able to express that. Like, overall, I feel like I am walking and living and breathing in the gender that I am, instead of in something that someone else is telling me to be. But I still feel like there's stuff to learn. So, oh, he's sleeping. Oh, I love my baby. Yeah, so I don't know, I felt like that was, like, kind of important to share, because I've heard similar experiences from other non-binary people, or even trans people who aren't non-binary, like, so I think that it's important, and like for anyone who is like watching this and is either confused about their gender or is like concerned about expressing their gender or like whatever, it's okay. You will learn and it will get better. And I know that sounds like such BS, but I remember for like a solid year or two, like after I came out as a trans woman and I like tried to convince myself that that was fine, which it wasn't. After I tried to convince myself that that was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted. I remember struggling because I was like, I knew I wasn't a guy, I knew I wasn't a girl, but I didn't know where I fit, and I was just so frustrated because I would like see, you know, like a picture of somebody on like Tumblr or on like Instagram or something and be like looking at them like, that's similar to how I want to dress, or that's similar to how I want to look, or how I want to be perceived. Like the way that I'm looking at them and viewing them and seeing them as their gender, that's how I want people to see me. But it still took me like 2 years to really see me in me, instead of just see bits and pieces of me in other people. And it was so frustrating because I don't like the process. I just want it to be done. But it's okay, and you don't have to stress. And I don't know, I just wanted to share that. I just thought it was important. So that's my video for today. Little kitty. But I'm all done. I'm gonna show you my cat one more time because I love him. He's sleeping. I love him so much. Okay, I'm gonna go.